Well, before we get to see that dance, you get to see us dance right here in the kitchen because we're going to be reinventing favorites this morning with these, listen to this, dumpling nachos. Yeah, you heard correctly. Dumpling nachos that are not only delicious, but also easy on the pocket, which I think is making them perfect for, let's call it a student budget, right? So this is definitely something that is packed with flavor, and we've also added a crispy texture to it. So I think these nachos are sure to be a hit at any gathering or just as a tasty snack for yourself. So I've got to bring in a professional for this one, someone that really knows their way around the kitchen, and I'm talking about the one and only Gabriella. Dun, dun, dun.
Today.
You get your own entrance and everything. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, good. Happy Monday morning, fresh with good energy, I hope.
Absolutely.
Love
always,
it.
Always.
New energy, new Monday, a new week, and new recipes, which I'm loving. We're mixing nachos and dumplings.
I know. We're just
Are you
doing
crazy?
Stuff just for funsies.
I love this. So let's get into it because I think there's a lot going on here. We've got like two sides to it as well.
Yes.
What side are we going to be on? Where are you starting on?
So we're going to start this side. Okay. So pretty much what we're doing is we are making almost like this kind of spring roll pastry, and pretty much you're going to cook over, because I think people are thinking like, how are we going to cook this? So
I'm trying to picture myself like a nacho and a dumpling. I'm like, are the dumplings going to be laid over the nachos?
It's more like the flavor of the nachos afterwards as well, and you've got all your extra goodies. So it's super simple. So I know it sounds a bit stressful, but it's actually really easy. So we are going with pork mince this morning.
Nice.
And I've got some chili oil over here, which we're going to put in here. And I've got some soy sauce, spring onion, salt, and the egg is what's going to bind it.
All right.
So we're just going to literally put this in there, crack the egg in, which I'm not going to mess everywhere.
Should I put the pan on heat so long for you?
Please put the pan in, because I want it to be hot.
Nice and hot.
So we got our egg in here, and pretty much all we're going to be doing is kind of stirring this all together. If you want to, you can also use your hands. I just know that I need to use them too.
Yeah, and it gets messy afterwards. But I think it's easier to use them. But for now, let's avoid all the mess this early in the morning if we can.
Not mentally ready for that. Mentally ready for Monday, but not that right now.
Yes, that is true.
So we pretty much literally just stirring this all together. And then what we got here is we've got our little sheets. We're using the spring roll sheets today.
I was going to ask you, where do you get these sheets? What are they? But these are spring roll sheets. That makes sense.
So I'm just thinking now that I'm using different sheets, I'm going to cut them in. I'm going to put some of the mince on in the one side. Yeah. And basically, what we are doing is we are actually frying them open so that we can cook the meat. Otherwise, if we wrap it, it's going to be a bit too. Then you would have to kind of pre-cook
the heat's not really going to get all the way in.
Yeah, and then we're not actually really getting the nacho crispy vibe,
Okay.
So I'm going to cut this into a triangle. You can see here. Just
still
like
trying
this.
to picture where this is going. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's starting to slowly make sense and reveal itself.
We've got this in a triangle because basically, you can see the finished dish. We're going to slowly but surely kind of put this on top of the pan to kind of cook the mince through. The mince through.
All right.
So we've got a dry pan here. I'm actually just going to add a little bit of this extra chili oil on it, just so I've got some oil and some flavor.
But I can do you one better, right? Because obviously, with our hero ingredient this morning, we are going to be talking about that in just a bit. For you, Mzansi, another little tip for you is to keep the cost down. You can consider using ground beef or chicken instead of pork mince. And you can also customize the toppings with what you have on hand, such as maybe using regular mayo, or you can even experiment with different toppings to suit your taste preference. So try adding sliced jalapenos for an extra kick, or diced avo for creaminess, or you can sprinkle some grated cheese for a gooey finish too. So, like I said, I've got you covered. You don't have to worry about the oil because
I was going to say, we need some
of
oil.
That good stuff right here.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. So you can definitely use some of that.
Thank you.
Because this is what we're talking about right now. Get the real oil in there. We're using olive pride for this one.
Yeah, we want to crisp it up nicely.
Yes, and a reminder, Mzansi, if this is getting complicated for you right now, we're only halfway through, but you can get this recipe on expressoshow.com. You can head through there right now if this is slowly not starting to make sense, but don't worry, Gabby's still here taking us through the step by step.
It's going to make sense now.
Yes, so far so good.
And it's not going to collapse.
I think we can crack this so far, yeah. Okay, so we got the oil in the pan. The pan should be hot.
Yeah, the pan is good now. This is looking good, especially, a little trick is when you can see your oil is moving around like this quite quickly, then you know it's hot enough.
All right, instead of slowly dancing around the pan.
Exactly, so we're going to gently now just pop this in our pan like this. So you see then the edges are going to crisp up, which is quite nice.
Oh, so that's going to add a little bit of crispiness, right?
Yes.
And that texture that we want.
Yes, so that's going to crisp up your paper. then you're kind of understanding the whole nacho vibe.
Yes, it all makes sense.
So because we're using a slightly bigger sheet now, you can also use the wonton wrappers, which are slightly smaller. But we can have now like a lekker big chip here, basically.
Yes,
That's
like
a bit
a
bigger.
boat of goodness just going through into the good stuff. Oh, that's perfect. I love this.
We basically want to cook this for about 3 minutes or so, or 2 to 3 minutes, so that your pork is kind of cooked through. You know, if someone doesn't like it to be overcooked, then, you know. But I mean, that's pretty much the recipe. We're going to let it sit now and cook for a little while.
I couldn't figure it out, but it's so simple and
it's
so
cooking up
effective.
nicely.
Yeah.
And then again, if you had to use the wonton wrappers, then you would just add a little bit of water just to do an extra steaming thing. But because we're using this kind of paper today, then this kind of pastry.
This
will
kind
just
of
cook
works
it by itself, you know?
So you essentially wait until you're happy with
Yeah, so
how
I'm gonna-
far cooked through the meters, and
Yeah, I
then
wanna
we're
have
pretty
a
much
little-
done.
Yeah, so it's still looking a little bit
Medium rare.
medium rare.
Medium rare. So we
Yeah.
can call this one's to your preference, of course. And do we never actually turn this over? We
We are going to turn this over.
Okay, well,
because
that'll
we
be
wanna
like the
still crisp
final
it up.
phase.
Yeah, I just want the meat to cook. I mean, I'll give you a little flip-see so you can see for now. I just don't actually have a tongue.
But what it does do is paints a picture for me of like almost blanketing the heat within the. Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
so I would still do it a bit longer because you can still see the meat's
Yeah.
a little bit raw, but just so you can see the sake of
But this,
turning it over.
This makes so much sense because almost like it's encapsulating all the heat within
Yes,
the
absolutely.
paper as well at the
Yes.
same time. So it's kind of steaming it and cooking
Yes,
it all together.
exactly. So I'm still going to leave that one just to cook a little bit longer because I want it to be a bit more crispy vibe.
Crispy, but
And
it's
again,
still
if
going to
you-
keep the mince
Yes.
so moist and so good.
Exactly, and then that again, so if you had to use your wonton wrappers, you would put a little bit of water in this and put a lid on just to continue the steaming of the pastry, and then you would actually let that water reduce, could add a little bit more of your olive oil and then, you know, olive powder.
So simple, actually. All right.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And then we obviously have our ready-made one,
Yeah.
which we've got some nice little toppings on. Then you can zhuzh it up with your mayonnaise, with your, you know, with your coriander, with all the good stuff as well as your little decoration. So, do you wanna see the finished product? So you can at least
I'm
understand.
just blown away. Like this actually
looks
worked.
like.
It came together better than I actually thought, and I love the inspiration of how everything is balanced so
Yes.
subtly together.
So you can
Well
see our
played.
chip is like getting nice and crispy here now.
It is amazing. This is gonna blow. If you were to offer your guests nachos like this, your
I know,
guests would be
your-
blown away.
You like nachos, you like, but my nachos.
But
like,
my
check
nachos,
this out.
this is going to become your thing. Of course, Mzansi, get this recipe at expressoshow.com. I'm talking about blowing your guests away, blowing their minds, and blowing their stomach sensations. And
There we
speaking
go.
about blowing away minds, we've got some dancers standing by right now doing exactly that, standing by to entertain you. And I mean, look at their move, absolutely incredible. So you, Mzansi, don't need to go anywhere. They're going to be practicing right now and getting ready to entertain you. We'll see you after this. Oh, this looks good.
Oh,